We're back with more on Real Estate Update with James Wedgeworth. Now, if you live on Hilton Head Island, you're going to get some great info because you've got specifics here on the different communities, don't you?
I've tried to kind of look at the different areas because people always say, well, because I'm always telling them that, you know, the national average doesn't matter. You know, all real estate's local and then it's local within local. So I ran some numbers, I'd like to share these with you, just to give you an idea. In Sea Pines, in 2016, we sold 189 houses. Last year, we sold 214. So that's a hefty
Are you talking
increase.
Condos too, James, or
No,
just
these
houses?
are just single-family
Okay.
homes. Now, in Hilton Head Plantation, we sold 225 in 16, and we sold 216 last year. So that's a slight decrease. But the average, this is something interesting, the average price in 2016 was $466. It was $500 last year. So that's about a little above a 5%. Now that sample size is big enough to get an idea of a little better average. But see, a lot of times your sample size, let me give you an example. In 2010, the market was the pits. Nothing was selling. And a realtor sent out a letter to Port Royal property owners. He said, houses in Port Royal went up 28% last year. Well, my clients would come and say, that's not right, is it? I said, no, it's not right. They went down. And they said, well, why did he say that? Well, what he did is the year before we would say sold 40 houses, 2 which were oceanfront. Mm-hmm. That year we sold 20 houses, but 4 were oceanfront.
Okay.
So even though the people sold their oceanfront house for significantly less than they wanted, it made the average, but the sample size was so small.
Right, it impacts what your results are going to be.
It impacts. Now, in Lone Cove, we sold 25 in 16, and it went up to 28. Not a big increase, but a step in the right direction.
But even so, because I live there,
Yeah,
I mean, things have been moving now. At least I'm getting that sense.
Well, we just sold one down the street from you,
right.
you know. Now, in Indigo Run, we sold 52 in 16 and 42 last year. In 16, the average was 647, and it jumped up to 684, even though that's not a big sample size.
From 2016 to 2017.
Yeah. In Port Royal, we did 51 in 16 and 50 in 17. The average went from 800 to 889. So you can see a slight increase there, even though the sample size can be torqued a little by the number of maybe more expensive homes. What we tell people, and I don't want to just go on and on and on.
You can.
But we tell people, we've said this before, look at how much inventory you have. That is the most important thing in determining the price of your home. How much inventory do you have? In Sea Pines, we got a 10-month inventory. Hilton Head Plantation, we got a 5.4, so that's below the 6. So it's going to see those prices edging up a little bit. Lone Cove, we got 12. Indigo Run, we got 10. Port Royal, we got 8 months. So you get around 8, you're getting close to that 6. So once you pass that, you'll see some good things happen.
Here's a quick question. With Hilton Head Plantation, do the homes tend to be at a lower price so they move more quickly than the million-plus homes, or is that not the case?
That's the case. A lot of the homes are, well, the lower price homes have been moving better. I'll give you an example. I listed a house for $389 at 5 o'clock on a Friday. I had 7 showings on Saturday. It sold Sunday morning. I was going to church, and the guy got his list price. Now, that owner thinks James Wedgeworth is the best realtor on the island.
Do they ever, conversely, they'll say, oh my gosh, it sold so quickly. Should we have listed it a little bit higher? Do you ever get that?
Not really, because once they study the comps, they'll see, well, this is about where we are. But, you know, then I got other people, I've had their house listed for a while, and they need to talk to that owner because they don't think I'm any good, you know, but that's just the way it works.
All right, say someone is thinking about putting their house on the market this time of year, it's springtime, but then they say, you know, it's a lot of work, I gotta, you know, make the place look great, declutter, do a couple of fix-up projects, I'm gonna wait. What would you say to them about this time of year and selling?
Okay, we have what I call a 60-day window, okay, and that runs from President's Day weekend, which I think was this past weekend.
And we're taping this, so if you're seeing it a month later, but we're still there.
Yeah,
so.
And it runs to the end of the RBC Heritage. So that is what I call the prime selling season. Now, I always tell people, you're going to get more for your house during that time period. There's some reasons. The weather's better. Everybody's here. If you own property on Hilton Head, you're in Ohio, you're going to be here because you got spring break, you got Easter, you got the golf tournament. There are a lot of people here, and they bring people with them. They bring relatives. I don't know anybody that doesn't have somebody visit them during that time period. And these people are the people that buy. So I always tell people, if you can get your house on the market, you're going to get more for it during this time period. It's a really sweet spot. You won't get what you want because prices haven't escalated to where you can get what you want, but you're going to get more than you would any other time. Usually, now that varies.
Do you get a lot, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but do you get a lot of tire kickers that people come down to the tournament and they say, hey, let's just kind of look around, and they're not really serious? Or do you figure everyone you meet, it's worthwhile because you never know down the road what's going to happen?
We do a lot of what I call stuff in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can ask people questions, and any realtors tries to qualify their people before they take them out. But we do have a lot of people that come to the tournament, fall in love with the island, and will buy a year later. Does that make sense?
Sure. What happens when you go in a home, a lot of clutter, maybe some really bizarre collection of, I don't know, dolls or, you know, stuff is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you know with all that in there, it's going to be a tough sell. Do people readily say, oh, I get what you're saying, declutter, maybe paint this room? How does it go?
Okay, normally they don't. They're usually proud of their plate collection. They're proud of those Elvis plates. I'm being funny about their dolls or whatever. But I try to be honest with them. I say, listen, if you want to get top dollar for your house and you want it sold, I'm going to recommend a few things. Probably 2/3 of the people will do the things I recommend, which is usually declutter. I have what I call the 25% rule. What I tell people, I've been doing this for 36 years. It's been my experience. Anytime I go in the house, people got about 25% too much stuff. So I say, I actually have a lady that works with me who's excellent, and I send her over, she's the heavy, and she says, this has got to go, this has got to go, and then she helps them store it or whatever. The second thing we a lot of times recommend is a lot of times they have, I call it grandmother's wallpaper, like my grandmother's house. That's kind of out now. Now here's coming back, but I don't think it's made it back to Hilton Head yet. So we'll say, we recommend you strip this wallpaper, paint this room. Sometimes we will recommend that they recarpet if they got old carpet.
Crummy.
Some carpet.
Sure. It makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, what people say is, I just sell it that way. I give them a credit. I said, no, it doesn't work that way. No. Real estate's an emotional sale. So if people don't like your house, they won't make an offer and ask for a $10,000 credit on the carpet. Sure. They'll just buy. People love to buy turnkey houses. Oh, they absolutely love it. And if you're in turnkey shape, you're going to get more for your house, and it will sell quicker.
Guess what? We're almost out of time. So I want to leave room for you now to give us some predictions or looking ahead at the market.
Okay, well, this is probably the first time I can say this in a long time. I do see the market improving. Is it improving as much as I would like? Of course it's not. But we have baby steps in this business. The fact that we're getting inventory reduced in basically all price ranges is really good for the market. You got a strong national economy, unemployment's low, and we have lagged the rest of the world. I hear people every day, they call me and say, well, the market in
Hilton
Naples,
Head we have. You mean,
yeah, Hilton
okay.
Head has lagged a little the northeastern markets. Gosh, if you got a house in where your mother lives in Connecticut, you put it on the market, it'll probably sell. If you're in Boston, the market's better in Connecticut. Market's pretty good in New York. Philadelphia is good. I don't think it's because they won the Super Bowl, but the market's a little better. So a lot of those people are getting a better price for their house, which gives them more money to invest in Hilton Head.
Looks great when you come down and see that.
I think we're going to have a good spring this year. I really, really do. I've seen the last month a lot of activity, and there's so many good values out there. We got houses that are a great price compared to the rest of the world. So people come in and say, well, you mean I can get this house for $800,000? It's a great deal. So I'm optimistic. Okay. I'm really looking forward to it.
And we're going to talk to you again in the fall. So James Wedgeworth, thank
we'll
you so much.
We'll talk before then.
I know we will. And thank you for watching Real Estate Update. I'm Allie McNair. Thanks, James Wedgeworth.
Thank you.